Hi, welcome again to this video, and this video is meant to address an issue that comes on point number 6. Compute each of the following, and this video we are dedicating it to working out the discounted prices as per one of the requirements. Remember, the video again is not meant to teach you how to do your project, but just to help you know how you are going to jump yet another hurdle, so that at least you can be able to finish your project successfully. It's a technical issue, a little bit technical, but however, there's the way it is brought there is because you are equal to such a task. Now, if you have not created the tables required, you have no business being here or watching this video, but this video is meant for anybody who has made an attempt to first understand how the project will work, and therefore it means that you need to have created necessary tables, and now you are just trying to figure out, how do I do this calculation? Now, the calculation that we want to do is when we do a sale, when we sell some items. If you look around in your at your home, or in your home, there might be that receipt that we are given in a supermarket. It has got a receipt number, it has got a list of so many items that you purchased, and then based on the total price of all the commodities that you are purchasing that particular day, we assume that we are going to give a discount as per the requirement given in page 3, paragraph 1 there. If a member purchases items of a value exceeding 1,000, a discount of 5% is offered. So what I have done in my case is that I've got two tables which will be useful in this particular exercise. One of them, which is the mother table, because it will have a child, is where I'm capturing the invoice number. Think of that receipt document that you have, listing down the items that you purchased. This table is the one which will have the receipt details, that it has an invoice number. Who is this member? Remember, we have got another table where we have listed down all the members and uniquely referring to them as using member ID. So I have done one of the sales, and then date of purchase. When did the member come to purchase goods? And then this is a field which I can be marking that this member qualified for a discount, and then what was the mode of payment of the total amount. But however, what about the goods that this member purchased? I have expanded the list so that you can see the association between invoices table and the child table. The child table in my case is TBL, invoice items. It has got 3 fields. One of them is invoice number, and then there is item. Which item are we selling? Remember, as our project, we have got a list of so many items that we can sell. Then how many items did they sell? Did we sell to them? Remember, as per the project paper, we are given the prices. So if we know that a bloomer was sold, and we sold 12 pieces, then it's likely that we should also be in a position to work out. Like now, I'm finding the cost of a bloomer as per the paper is 250 shillings. 250 shillings. So buying 12 pieces times 250 gives us the total for the bloomer. If it was, for example, something like socks, a pair is being sold at 350 times 12, and so on. So so let me just show you the child table when it's alone in isolation, so that we have a starting point. We have got the 3 fields I have talked about: invoice number, then we have got the item ID, the item we are selling, and then what quantity did this member purchase? How many items did this member purchase? Okay, so these are now the items to be listed on one receipt. I will be calling that receipt an invoice. An invoice is a document which you use to claim for payment from a particular individual. All right. So one thing that is difficult to maneuver is that in tables, when you are in a table, it's difficult to do a calculation, because right in here I could have desired to have a field which will be showing me the total amount. I prefer doing my calculations in queries. I know there is a possibility to create a calculated field, but sometimes it can be a bit technical when you work it out in the table directly. So I'll do a query to first work out the total amount to be paid. So let's see. I create, that's where I've gone. And then what are we creating? We are creating a query using wizard, and then it's a simple query, and therefore I click OK. Then what are the fields? I pick the table. I'm calling it the child table I talked about. The one which has got the fields that I need is table invoice items. I pick all the fields, and then I carry on to the next. It's a detail query. Every record should be shown, and then I go to next. And then what do I call it? I'll call it QRY invoice items. QRY invoice items. So as I finish and open it in datasheet view, you see it's just reproducing the information that we have in the table. However, now the agenda, the next activity will be to add a new column at the end there to indicate the total price that this that somebody should pay for these items. Okay. I'm sorry. Remember, these prices are already captured in another table that I'm calling table items. And then I've got a column where I am indicating the price. I'm indicating the price, amount per item. Amount per item is the field that we are going to use, and it will be based on what item are we selecting. If we select a bloomer, then we should reference this value and then multiply it with the number of items that we have sold here. Okay, so from table items comes what? The price of an item, then the number of items purchased. We have them in this query now. So I'll do that very, very fast. I'm going to introduce a function which I believe we are conversant with, a function that we call who. So how I'm doing that, I'm now opening the query in design view, which I believe everybody in here should be in a position to do that, unless you are here as a joker. So we are creating in a new column an expression. So I am right clicking to get expression builder. So I choose build option. And then what are we interested in? To look up a value. So there is a function in Microsoft Excel, Access called dlookup. Dlookup function. Dlookup is used to reference a value which exists somewhere, be it in a query or be it in another table. Dlookup. So you can see the parts that it has. It requires an expression, from which field or from, can you construct an expression which will give us the value that we are interested in. In this case, I want it to give us the cost of an item. I don't know whether the field that I did not remember to check the field that we are using for item name, but I'll go back there and I'll check later. Item, and then double quote. So those are, I have a pair of double quotes and then the word item in there. Probably it is item name or item ID. I'll check again. And then from what table or from which query? We are referencing this value from a table called TBL TBL items. That's the domain where the value will come from. From which table? From which table are we going to get this value? And then we must have a criteria where, and this criteria shall be where amount, where item ID, let me first assume that I have got a field like that. I'll check and then we are going to see it, is equal to like that. So you can see how I'm typing my criteria. There is the field name which exists in table items, the field name as it is in table items. So I'm going to verify the spelling. It might be slightly different. Is equal to the item ID that I have in this query. So I'm just dropping down the window so that I can see the spelling of item ID here. And then I type item ID is equal to item ID. Then I close the bracket. I don't need this single quote. If I am using number data type for item ID, take a number data type for this item ID, that is how it should look like. But if item ID is short text or text data type, then I could have included a single quote there, and at the end here I could have modified further by adding an ampersand, double quote, single quote, double quote, right? Again, at the end here, ampersand, double quote, single quote, double quote. That's what I could have done if item ID is not a number, if it were a text data type. But if it is a number data type, then I have no business of having this initial single quote. My criteria should simply be like that. So I'll first zoom in. So that you can be able to see what I have done. DLOOKUP, the item. I'm not so sure whether this is the correct field name, but I'm going to check. Then which is the domain, which is the table, which is the query that is giving us the resource that we want to use, the price in this case. So I'm actually even wrong because it should be amount, right? Amount. So let me go back, go to the table first. Go to the table very quickly, verify the field names as used there. Okay, so we want to have amount per item. Yes, that's the field name. You know, this is what we want to return. And then item ID is actually what I have referred to. So that's correct. It's a number data type. In case you did not have this, probably you used item name as your primary key, then you are going to use item name and you are going to add the ampersand that I was talking about. So let me go back to the function, do some modification. So here now I can zoom in so that we can be able to see it clearly. So this is what we want to return. We want to return, by use of this expression, we want to return amount per item. That's the cost, amount per item. How much are we selling each item? And each item is coming from table items, the domain. Then each item is referred to by a field called item ID, where item ID is equal to item ID that we have in this particular query. Okay. Then renaming this column, let me call it total amount to be paid. Then I want to now show it in datasheet view. Oh, very good. So just a quick view. Bloomer, from the paper, Bloomer is costing, or even from the table items, we can just check 250 times what? Times 20 items. So 20 times 250 sorry, what didn't I do? I did not multiply. I did not multiply. So it's only showing me the actual price of each item, but not multiplied yet with this quantity sold. So once more, I switch to design view of this query, design view of the query, then I do some slight modification. So far we've got the price per item, and now I want to multiply this times quantity sold down here, times quantity sold. Okay, that is it. That is it. Then datasheet view, beautiful. 20 times 250 gives us 5,000. Then the cost of games shots is 750 times 12, giving us 9,000. Pair of socks is at 350, will give us 4,200. So that's step one. That is step one of what you must do. You must be able to work out the total of what commodity that we sold. So I'm saving this query. That's our very initial query. Okay, where now we have got the total that this person must pay for every item that they have purchased. So far I believe we are together. Now the next thing will be all these items, the 3 items that I have here, they belong to one invoice, one receipt, invoice number 1. They all belong to invoice number 1, and that means that if the total accumulated total is over 10,000, then we must give this member a discount of 5%. So how do we maneuver that again? I'm going to create a second query now based on the first query. So this second query is like this: create. Again, I prefer using wizard so that I make my work very easy. When you are working in a project, you must save on time. So simple query wizard is the first response. And then what are we going to refer to? Which table, which query? The newly designed query, query invoice items. Query invoice items, the one I have just calculated. Then my interest is only 2 fields. That is invoice number. I don't want to see the detail of what item we sold out and the quantity we sold out. I have interest on invoice number and total amount. Only 2 fields, invoice number and total amount. Next step, very critical. We are not showing the detail of every sale that we made, but we want to have a summary. That is invoice number 1. What is its overall, what is its grand total? What is the grand total of invoice number 1, invoice number 2, as we continue accumulating the records thereafter. So summary, then summary options. I go to summary options, then I choose the field that we want to find the total for is total amount. Actually, we are finding the sum. So I tick sum and then I click on OK. There we go. That's the new query. What do I call it? Query invoice items discounts. Items discounts. Query invoice items discounts. I can modify the query because, okay, first let me show you what has happened in datasheet view. You see, it's only showing me the total. The total to be paid against invoice number 1. If we had records for invoice number 2, invoice number 3, you could have seen the summaries appearing where? Here. We could be having a summary of every invoice that we have captured, but already we only have one invoice. So I switch to design view now. We want to work out the 5% discount as per this amount, if at all the member qualifies for the discount. So there we have to go to design view. Then I right click to build an expression in a new column. Then I zoom in so that we are able to move together. Here, we are going to ask ourselves a question. Does this member qualify for a discount? So I'll say if, remember in Microsoft Access, we normally use double IF for if. Just like the Excel case, we have single IF. Here we use double IF. Then the expression, what are we testing? If the sum of total amount is less than what? 10,000. If the sum of total amount is less than 10,000, that's the expression. The true part shall be what? Give a 5% discount. No, the true part of this is saying what? We have an amount which is not equal to 10,000, which is less. So there's no discount. So we are giving a 0 as the discount, isn't it? Right? Otherwise, the false part, if this expression is false, meaning this is a scenario where we have 10,000 or more, then we say 5%. We can type 5 over 100 times sum of total amount becomes the discount. So check well the three parts. This is the expression. In Excel, we call it the logical test. Value if true, what to give as discount if this expression is true. For anybody less than 10,000, we are giving a discount of 0. But if we have an amount of 10,000 or more, we are giving a 5% discount against sum of total amount. Very good. So I click on OK, and then I'll label the newly designed column. I'll call it discount. Good. Discount. So if I now choose I chose another view. Want to choose datasheet view. Why is it that way? I don't know why it was bringing the parameters issue. But you can see now we have got 910. If you get a calculator and find the 5% of the 18,200, you are going to find that's the amount that we should get. So that's how you work out the discounts. For every purchase. So as I continue accumulating my records, when I continue to do a sale to another person, like now, how do I do that? Okay, just a minute. I zoom out, close the query, go to table invoices, then I do a new sale. I sell something to member number 305, and then you see already the computer automatically captures that as invoice number 2 because of the data type that I applied here. I used auto number. Then against invoice number 2, I want to add some items. I want to sell a hockey stick. I want to sell a t-shirt. I also want to sell some wrappers. Then how many? Say 5 hockey sticks. No, I don't want to sell too many. I want to sell 2, and then I want to sell 2 t-shirts, and then I want to sell 2 wrappers. So that's invoice number 2. So what is the response of our query? If I go to it, query invoice item discounts, I don't know what we are going to do to avoid this parameter value request, but I first ignore it. You see now, this is a case where invoice number 2, against invoice number 2, the total is 6,500, does not qualify for a discount. So that is it. If I create a new one, again, if I go to invoices, I create a third record, I make a sell to somebody else, and then populate. What did they purchase? They purchased a tracksuit. They purchased also I'm avoiding shoes. avoiding shoes. You know, there is some technicality when it comes to shoes. So this person purchased 5 tracksuits, 10 game shorts, and how many t-shirts? 5 t-shirts. Then we want now to see the behavior of the query, whether there is any discount for that. There we are. So you see, because in invoice number 3, the total is exceeding 10,000, that's why we are giving another discount. So thank you very much for watching this video. That's how you could have calculated the discounted prices. May you stay safe and blessed. Thank you.